So please tell me how Regina George can wear a black turtleneck shirt and look like a queen and slay, but when I wear a black turtleneck shirt, I look like the owner of a tech company in Silicon Valley. I'm just gonna say it. I think stunt casting is a good idea. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you news, really good news, and then also my opinion on a topic that has been circulating the internet for the last week. But before we get started, I'm Sophia Lovelace and I post theater videos, comedy videos, and style videos. So if any of that stuff interests you, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to be notified when I have new uploads. I upload around once a week, sometimes twice a week, and even this week I've posted 3 times this week, so make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to be notified when I have all that musical theater content. So let's dive right into it. First, I'm gonna start off with the big news, which I am so excited for, I am so hyped for, and that is there is going to be a Mean Girls musical movie. If you don't know me, Mean Girls is like one of my favorite movies, just like it is almost anyone's favorite movie who was born in the early 2000s. And let's just hope that the Mean Girls musical is not bad like Mean Girls 2 was. But if I remember correctly, Mean Girls 2 wasn't really like by the same people who did Mean Girls 1. Wasn't it like a Disney Channel original story or something like that? Anyways, we forget about Mean Girls 2. I'm just gonna pull up the article that I first heard the news that Mean Girls the musical movie was gonna be a thing, because I'm so excited. I'm already like jumping all over the place, so I just need to read something so I can stay focused and not be talking about random stuff. So the article is from Variety, and the title is Tina Fey announces movie adaptation of Broadway's Mean Girls musical. I don't know why, I feel like that's a tongue twister. Broadway's Mean Girls musical. Broadway's Mean Girls musical. Producers of the hit Broadway show announced today that the Tony-nominated production is being adapted for the big screen for Paramount Pictures. The musical is based off of the 2004 movie of the same name. I'm very excited to bring Mean Girls back to the big screen, Tina Fey, who wrote the film and stage production, said in a statement. It's been incredibly gratifying to see how much the movie and the musical have meant to audiences. I've spent 16 years with these characters now. And then the article goes on to have more quotes from other producers saying that they're so excited that Broadway's Mean Girls the musical is going to be a film. And then they also talked about how Mean Girls is actually going to London's West End next year. And if you've been following Mean Girls the musical, you know that they are on tour. Yes, I think they're currently still on tour, and they have been on tour for a while now. And so this is super exciting news. I'm so excited to see it. I'm probably gonna go see it in theaters. But knowing me, you know how many times I've said,
oh my god, I have to go see that movie in theaters. I'm so excited.
And then literally it gets to the weekend that it opens, and it gets to that time when the movie's in theaters, and I'm so busy with work, I'm so busy with school, I can't go see it. I'm looking at you, Frozen 2. And I'm looking at you, Mamma Mia 2. Why did you have to come out during audition season? Why you gotta do that? But yeah, I'm so excited. I love Mean Girls the musical. I love the costumes. I think it's such a fresh interpretation of Mean Girls. I love it. I can't wait for school productions to do it, because I feel like schools, like high schools, would love to do Mean Girls. Now this brings us to the second point and discussion topic of this video, which is the whole Cameron Dallas controversy, fiasco, whatever you want to call it. I really don't like calling it a controversy because, in my opinion, I don't think this situation is that big of a deal. I can think of countless things that have happened on Broadway in recent times that I think are way more controversial than casting a Vine superstar on Broadway. And I'm not going to talk about those quite controversial subjects because I don't want to deal with hate comments. And I feel like this is such a minor controversy that I feel like I have to come on here and tell you guys my opinions because you've been asking for it. And basically, what is my opinion on stunt casting in general? So according to Google, the definition of stunt casting from Wikipedia is Stunt casting is a term in casting that refers to the use of a gimmick or publicity stunt to fill a role in a television series, film, or theater production. Now, it is not unusual to see stunt casting on Broadway, and definitely not in film and TV. It's not an unheard of thing. It happens fairly often. Usually casting picks someone who has a similar audience to the product they're trying to produce or sell. For example, Scream Queens, the TV show, which doesn't exist anymore, but when it did existed, it had Ariana Grande literally for one episode. And they set it up as if Ariana Grande was a main recurring character in the series, but I believe she was on tour that time, so she could only film one episode. But Ariana Grande's audience, because Ariana Grande has a aesthetic very similar to Scream Queens, so the audience that would like Ariana Grande most likely would like Scream Queens as well. So that's a TV example, but if you look at Mean Girls is very popular amongst teenagers. Teenagers and people that grew up with the movies, so like millennials. I do not think it's strange, I do not think it's weird that they would cast a Vine superstar to be in a show that is really popular for teenagers, or that's their target market, is teenagers. I mean, I didn't know who Cameron Dallas was by name. I had to Google him. I watched some of his Vines. I think maybe I saw some of his Vines. I mean, I have a vague memory of maybe someone from my high school having a crush on him, but I can't be 100% certain. In my opinion, he just looks like every teenage crush at the moment. He looks like Shawn Mendes, kind of. He just has that look that every teenage girl is obsessed with right now, and we're obsessed with when I was in high school. And considering that he's playing like a love interest, I don't think that's strange. I think that fits his casting type. Now, this brings the other question that people have been asking. If they were gonna do stunt casting, why didn't they pick someone else who has experience doing musical theater? Well, I have 2 points for this. One is the more experience the actor has and the more popular an actor or more well-known an actor, the more expensive they are. And purely from a business standpoint, I am a business student, so that's why I'm saying this, and this is why I have this perspective. If a cheaper actor is just as good as an expensive actor, hire the cheaper actor. That sounds really bad, really harsh, really not art. But in a perfect world, we would hire Johnny Depp for literally everything. Cause as soon as you have Johnny Depp in a movie, you know it's gonna be a multi-million-dollar movie. But the reality is, most movies and productions don't have that kind of money. And the second thing is, if they hired someone who is a Broadway star that everyone who is into Broadway knows, that's not drawing new people in. Anyone who's into Broadway and musical theater knows about Mean Girls the Musical. So it's kind of useless to advertise to people that already know it exists and are already interested in going, or already have gone, or already planning on going, or already decided they're not going. So it is a waste of money to target market a very small segment of the population that already knows about Mean Girls, that for most people, I would have to say, have a very positive opinion about Mean Girls the Musical. So this means, and I'm a marketing student too, so I study business, but I want to get into marketing and communications, that they need to expand their market. And how do you do that? You introduce it to teenagers. Teenagers, this is gonna sound bad, are easily influenced, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that they're more open than adults. Adults who don't like musical theater might already have a negative opinion about musical theater, and it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter how good the show is, if they are like,
I don't like musicals,
they're less likely to change their opinion. But teenagers are willing to change their opinion. They're learning about the world, they want to discover more about the world, so they are more open to hearing about different ideas. And even if they didn't like musicals, because the only musicals they've ever been exposed to are Disney musicals, and maybe they weren't a big fan of that, or Wizard of Oz, that's like the only things that they might have been exposed to, and they didn't like those, then they might have this opinion that they don't like musicals, but if you show them something different, they might realize,
hey, not every single musical is like that, and I kind of like this.
And boom, they go see Mean Girls the Musical, or they buy the soundtrack, or buy the merch. So people who are for Cameron Dallas's audience are not necessarily musical theater fans, but they're probably open to hearing about a new musical. And a musical comedy too, because Cameron Dallas, he was on Vine, he's kind of funny. People who like funny stuff follow Cameron Dallas, so therefore they probably like Mean Girls the Musical. Now there's a lot of rumors that Cameron Dallas is, you know, struggling. He's having his struggles as being a performer on Broadway because, let's face it, this is the first time he's ever done something like that. Usually the rumors, of course they're rumors. I have no proof. All the videos that were on the internet of him were taken down by whoever owns the copyright. So it is literally impossible to tell if he actually is as bad or as struggling as people are saying, or if it's all just rumors because people are jealous. And if I know anything about theater and performance in general, people get jealous quite often. But I think we just gotta keep that in mind because he is a new performer. He is so not used to performing on Broadway. Broadway is one of the most demanding performance styles out there. I mean, there's probably like, I mean, Cirque du Soleil is a little bit above that, but then you got Broadway down here, especially Mean Girls. Mean Girls is one of those movies, one of those musicals that requires people to be triple threats, so be able to dance, sing, and act. And I feel like if someone was on Broadway, but it was their first time being on Broadway, but they didn't have a big celebrity name behind them, just like if they're getting started, and they goofed up at a few performances, no one would really know, no one would be posting about it on the internet. I mean, I've seen actors make mistakes on stage all the time. It is so not the end of the world. Hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You guys tend to really like those videos where I talk about topics that are hot in the moment, that are breaking news. In the name of Dionysus, the god of theater, make sure to subscribe. You wouldn't want to make Willie Shakes upset, would you? And I think that's it for today.